Hello guys, my name is Ryan. I play chess and put my videos on YouTube. Today I wanted to show two games that I really liked and one very interesting mate. So we're going to start with this one. Played the English opening. So he's coming for this check here. I see this and I should have, been more careful with this, but he's got a nice check right here. So at this point he's technically winning. And now he's pinning this knight right here. Bring my queen out. And seeing as both my bishops are relatively completely blocked in right now, I realized early that it's going to be, almost a completely knight game for me right now. So I start moving my knights a lot, and I love the position that I get to. Right now, I start to notice that his king and queen are on, a nasty fork. So he blundered here. I'm not sure what his idea moving forward was, but he allowed me to take that, which is very nice of him. And then he tries to break up my center, and that's where I finally get the fork, and that's where he resigned. Now this isn't really the game I wanted to analyze and share with you guys. This mate. I don't get to do this mate a whole lot, but I think it's very informative, and it was an exciting game. He was what was he ranked? He was a 1463 player, so he's a very good player, and I enjoyed this game a lot. I start out with my typical French. Typically, I think this is a worse response from white. Just bring your bishop out right here because of this right now. I think the computer marks it down as, -1 at this point. So takes, and the bishop has to fall back. Now, this pawn isn't going anywhere for the rest of the game here, protected by the queen. So this bishop is kind of shut out from the next, 10 or 15 moves. I continue with the standard, French defense exchange variation. Castles, I castle. I bring my last bishop out. Usually what I like to do is move this pawn right here. So I have a nice pawn chain. This bishop isn't going anywhere. But I also want to get this knight out eventually. But if I'm going to be moving my pawn here, I want to move my knight right here to connect the knights. I don't want to move him here because the knights on the rim are dim. So this is a pretty attractive square for this bishop right now. And it also allows me to develop this knight without trapping this bishop in. So that's why I like to move my light squared bishop in the French before I move this knight. And if he was to, for instance, move his knight right here and check this bishop, I want to be able to, drop him back, which I believe he does. I'm fine with that exchange. Queen is centralized. He's off the back rank. Now I can connect rooks. And he does end up checking my bishop here. I fall back. I bring my last minor piece into the game. Now I have two attackers on this guy, so he has to move his knight again, which is kind of wasting time. Check the queen. He tries to exchange queens here, but I don't want to do that right now. It's an even game. I think I'm more developed. My pieces are in better positions. I have a nice pawn chain here. What I mean by my pieces are in better positions are, if you look comparatively, all my pieces have, decent squares that they can go to, whereas this knight, he can't go anywhere except for backwards now. This knight is on the edge, and so, knights on the rim are dim. He can only move back, here right now. This bishop is not going anywhere for the rest of the game, which is why the computer marks it down as a -1 3 moves into the game. So I like my pieces at this position, so I don't want to trade queens necessarily. He's trying to, lighten up the position a little bit from any potential mating threats, which is smart by him. He comes down, he's trying to exchange off these pieces, and I actually mess up here. This is a blunder by him. I didn't take advantage of it for any reason other than I just didn't see it at the time, and I was so happy with this bishop being blocked in that this pawn was concrete in my mind. So I didn't want to take with the pawn for some reason. I just didn't take with the pawn. I took with the knight, and now I have a check on the queen. My rook is in the game now. I want to get this. I can't take this pawn now. Maybe that's why I didn't trade, is because of that. I don't know, I should have just taken it there with the pawn, but I didn't. I wanted this rook on this pawn right here. He's got two attackers on that now. I defend this in one move and also attack the queen. drops queen back. I defend this pawn one more time to free up my queen for, any future activity. I get a flight square. And also eventually I want to place my knight right here. So it's a completely even game materially right now, I believe. Yep. So I'm going after this pawn right now in my mind. Also, I have 3 attackers on this, f2 pawn. He's feeling a lot of kingside pressure. He decides to protect this pawn. I take it with the knight, threatening taking the queen right here. He has a check on me right here, but it's not going to do a whole lot. But again, he had to, move the queen or lose the queen. So now he has to move the queen a second time because, or else I'm just going to take up the pawn here. Either that, or he's going to move right here. He decides to take it, and he's got a pretty nasty mate right here. It's a good mate threat. For instance, if he goes here, my flight square right here isn't great because of this pin right now. But luckily my queen is on this diagonal. So I decided to do a double check. And the reason I did that will become clear pretty soon. So his only space is right there. And I don't get to do this mate very often, which is why I love this game and why I'm analyzing it. But it's a smother mate. So since this is protected by the knight right now, the only way he can recapture is with this rook. And that's checkmate. So hope you guys learned a new way to mate somebody today. And I thought that was, really sound, good attacking chess. And thanks for watching, guys.